Are you happy with your life right now? It's important to take a step back from the busyness of life and ask yourself this question to see if you're on the right path. Maybe you're just so worried about a possible business project coming up, and then you're also swiping away on Tinder trying to find a partner. But also you're working on your fitness, and you get the point. All these diversions of life keep the mind distracted away from one of the central problems of our existence, whether or not we're happy. In chapter 2 of his work Civilization and its Discontents, the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud believed that this was what people revealed to be the main purpose of their life, to be happy. Specifically, we aim to experience pleasure, but also eliminate pain. We may or may not agree with him, but we could still confidently say that yes, we do a lot of things in life to be happy. Even the things we don't like doing, like going to work or doing chores, this is done in the service of future happiness. But maybe you're struggling to find happiness in your life right now. Maybe that job that's supposed to provide future happiness is just consuming your soul. Maybe things you used to find joy in are no longer doing so. Maybe you need to make a new, intentional journey towards happiness, and that's where Freud might be able to help. Throughout this chapter, Freud lists out a couple different methods that people adopt to achieve happiness. All of these methods are imperfect when they come to their goal, but nonetheless they still have advantages. So we're going to look at some, talk about their pros and cons, and hopefully by the end of this video, you find a pathway you find most agreeable. Our first method is the control method. We often find ourselves wanting something, but the world does not give us that thing. This lifestyle asks us to control our impulses. The gratification of instincts is happiness, but when the outer world lets us starve, refuses us satisfaction of our needs, they become the cause of very great suffering. So when you come across a potential source of pleasure and your instincts push you to pursuing that pleasure, you rein yourself in, thus reducing the amount of suffering in life. Like when you see someone attractive and you want to go up and say hi, probably influenced by a sexual or romantic impulse, instead of pursuing that, work to control your desires. Now, the amount of control one exerts on their impulses differs. Freud mentions how there are Eastern religions and philosophies that advocate for a full-on elimination of these impulses, rather than simply control. So there is some wiggle room. The pros of this lifestyle are that, assuming you are able to better control your urges, you'll find more peace and less suffering as a result of not caring as much when those urges aren't satisfied. The cons are that you're missing out on some of the greatest pleasures and joys in life. In our example of seeing someone attractive in public, you might have thought, of course go up and talk to them. Don't let this opportunity slip by. This is because when you actually do satisfy some impulses, it could actually turn into a beautiful thing. The feeling of happiness produced by indulgence of a wild, untamed craving is incomparably more intense than is the satisfying of a curbed desire. So that's the control method. The next method we might call the creativity method. Freud claims that we could reroute our impulses to certain pursuits he calls mental and intellectual work. Now this doesn't necessarily mean scholarly stuff, although you can immerse yourself in the world of psychology, philosophy, literature, and churn out creative work in that area yourself. This can also mean artistic work. There needs to be some sort of creativity, some level of self-expression. In this method, I think of the cartoonist Robert Crumb, who was a very perverted individual and found some psychological satisfaction in turning those perverted ideas into cartoons. You reroute whatever impulses you have, despite their difficulty in satisfying them, into some creative effort that satisfies it instead. This kind of satisfaction, such as the artist's joy in creation, in embodying his fantasies, or the scientist in solving problems or discovering truth, has a special quality which we shall certainly one day be able to define metapsychologically. As for the cons of this lifestyle, they are limited to certain people. If you aren't creative, you might not find creative work to fully satisfy your impulses, and you won't find happiness. But for those who do have the gift, it's extremely effective because it places the satisfaction of happiness not in the external world, but inside oneself. Granted, you might need some art supplies or stationery to help actualize your creativity, but that inner creativity is available to you at any time. Our third method is the Hermit method. This one is similar to the control method, except here, it seems to be more physical than mental. Reject the world as much as you practically can. Become a shut-in. Forget the problems and anxieties of the world, and find satisfaction from within. Now the pros are that detaching from the world does also detach you from its problems. We've had a lot of crazy things happen in this world over the last 10 years, but imagine some hermit living out in the woods peacefully, not bothering with it at all. All those events become nothing to him. The cons are that this method is hard to maintain. The world will find some way to barge in, some way to interrupt your life. Practically speaking, you'd probably have to get really into homesteading and living self-sufficiently. The other con is that this might drive you insane. The lack of social interaction would probably really mess you up up mentally, as we've seen during the pandemic. And that was with virtual interaction. So that was the Hermit method. Our next method is one that Freud seems to consider the best, and that's the love method. Making love the center of how you live, whether it be romantic or familial or sexual. Sometimes I feel like I naturally gravitate towards this method. For example, I used to work at a grocery store, and there was a customer who came in and flirted with me. That one customer was what helped motivate me every morning to get up and go to work, in hopes that I'd see her again. I mean, sure, I worked for a salary, but on a day-to-day basis, the thought of running into her again helped motivate me. Hey, I know that sounds sad, but I needed something to help me get up at 5 a.m. This is also a very obvious method to us. I mean, the gratification of sexual impulses alone is one of, if not the most intense feeling of happiness one obtains in a sensual sense. And the satisfaction of a romantic relationship growing and working out is extremely powerful as well. So the pros are very obvious. The downside is that when we love or attempt to love, we make ourselves vulnerable. Vulnerable to rejection, breakups, divorce, and the amount of suffering we get from that is pretty high. So it's a high-risk, high-reward lifestyle. But as an additional pro, at least it's never dull. So we have the control method, we have the creativity method, we have the Hermit method, and we have the love method. Freud also mentions the chronic intoxication method, but let's be real, although it does numb suffering and produce happiness, it is definitely not the way to go long term. Unless you want to try to make an argument below in the comments, I'm open to it. But out of all these methods, which one sounds the most appealing to you? And I should mention, you don't have to choose just one. You can, incorporate a little here, a little there, make a combination platter of sorts. For me personally, I drift towards the creativity and love method. I found great satisfaction in not only this channel, but my comic that I've been working on since college. And the lifestyle of love is a bit of a roller coaster, but some of the most beautiful moments of life come as a result of love. I'm personally not very life-denying for the other two methods. Maybe it's because I'm young. In my mind, I picture a wise sage. Throughout their life, they've refrained from earthly pleasures and their risks. But now they're on their deathbed, and they secretly regret not experiencing life and all the highs and lows that come with it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive, but I'm willing to assume the risks of pain when I talk to a new girl, go out dancing and drinking with friends, travel and see the world, etc, etc. But that's just me. Comment your own thoughts below. Maybe there's another method Freud didn't mention that you think should be here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.